into my mind's eye. Try to show you the light, nah, don't be shy. If people try to fight it, brainwashed, lost, got the whole world divided, we could rise up.
Realm of realness. Separation of words and the law of reversal. Looking at words backwards, right to left, Hebrew, is the way to unhex our minds from this matrix, you know.
Deep beneath the bleak and dismal water of their vast remote sun, sinister plans are in the making by the ever-scheming legion of dudes. We go home to is our world, where everything backwards, where everything backwards, where everything backwards. They're cruising equal way.
Could look at it as in computer term, if it's a simulation, basically ones like us that think, want to figure things out, seek truth, find out who you are, how we are, hidden history, everything. In computer terms, it's like we're basically overwriting the program, so it would technically, we'd be a bug in their system. Hackers hacking the matrix, because that's exactly what this system they created for us is. That's why it's kind of one of my main things to speak about, is because it's so compelling how everything is put together. But once you can see it, you can't unsee it. But when you think of simulation, how is it not simulated when most things are out of your control? There's a cap and limit, not limit to potential, but limit what you could achieve just because the control system. And when there's puppet masters that sit in rooms and run computer simulations on all these different things that happen, and they already know the outcome, and they plan it, put it in movie shows, tell you, that's simulated. Think about owning all football teams and putting CEOs and presidents of all the teams, knowing what the outcome's gonna be. When we were little kids, our parents were indoctrinated to give us the story of Santa, which is an acronym, a word mix-up of Satan, of course. And they tell us Santa's in the North Pole. Interesting, because check out one of the definitions of north. One of the old etymology translations and definitions of it is hell. Interesting. Satan is in hell, Santa is in the North Pole. The same word. Another old term for Satan also is, of course, Saint Nick. That's also Santa. And then in mythology is Kronos. The North Pole is the center. Not just the center of compasses. Why is it the center? And why do all compasses point to the North Pole? Magnetic north. They have us out of balance, out of whack. The one movement of Earth out of the 4 or 5 movements as a whole collective galaxy. The Earth is spinning at 1,000, they say, but we can't feel any of it because of gravity. But yet a butterfly is strong enough to fly against that force. And then of course you could say,
they tell us gravity is a weak force.
So wait, is it weak or not? If a fly or a butterfly can just fly freely, even though, yeah, the wings flapping very fast, I get that. But how is gravity holding down the oceans, water? Think about that. But yet there's the butterfly flying around like nothing is even remotely trying to hold them down. And it's somehow like everything else nowadays, it becomes a touchy subject. Are we in space the way they describe, or is Earth this? Is that it? Or realms, but it's everything's just all here. and there's portals or gateways, Book of Enoch, the sun's a portal. A lot of other ancient books, even older than that as well. For me personally, after all the other evidence that adds up, if that wasn't enough, go through the meanings of these words, you could just, it speaks for itself. The word pole, just that one word, solidifies to me that we're talking the center of everything, and the center of the projection, the light that's emitting. Oddly enough, it's the same word, time and emit. So if you're emitting the light as it projects, it takes time. Interesting to think about. No matter how big or small the earth is, water has to curve. If they're showing us an image and it's a complete ball, and there's countries and islands on both sides, and there's life everywhere, water is curving around a ball. That's impossible. Water in H2O mode, in liquid form, as we know it, finds its way level, always. It's got to be in a container, or maybe a magnetic force pushing it back and forth, And why do pilots circle navigate? Because they're navigating around a circle. I'm flying in a plane. It's funny too, there's one of those ancient dynasties called PLANTAGENETS. Word planets right in there. Most likely just another coincidence. Also plane. Think about adding the T at the end of that and represent it as the cross or the X. X marks the spot, but also the cross, as in we've been crossed. Why are we wearing crosses if it symbolizes death? It doesn't symbolize life. Ancient alchemy symbols this cross is death. Crossing, Northpole. Interesting too, meet me at the crossroads. In the music business, when they sell their soul, they go to the crossroads always. But when you pull up to railroad tracks, you'll notice the railroad crossing symbol is an X. The X22 report just popped in my head, which is supposedly truth page, but it makes me kind of wonder who funds that. X22. 22, heck of a year, but 22 is master builder number of completion. I already put all the 22 synchronisms in a few videos back. Check this out though, this is the definition of pole, which has multiple definitions. Either of two related opposites, a point of guidance or attraction. Either of two terminals or an electric cell, battery, or generator or motor. This is pole now. Now it's talking about being a generator. Pole is a generator. In other words, Earth, Mother Earth is a natural generator, and that explains what nuclear power plants are, extracting it. Just this word here, pole, they're telling you, North Pole, the pole is the center, and they're telling you Earth is a battery, a generator. If you didn't already think it was. And this one here is what really gets me. The fixed point in a system of polar coordinates that serve as the origin. When I first read that definition of pole, number one, mind-blowing. Number two, made me think of mythology. And you already know that all these mythologies sync together. Syncretism, they're all talking about the same deities, stars, or planets. In Roman, Saturn came from Earth, but in the Roman mythology, Earth is Terra. T-E-R-R-A. Terra, terraform. So obviously, you've heard this quote before, and it makes me think extraterrestrial, we know is extra terra, extra territory. So if there is other beings that don't look quite like us, advanced or whatever you want to say, they came from extra territory, wherever we can't go past Antarctica. OnStar, everyone knows what that is. I used to think it was referring to the sun. Look at it though. There's a little star right over the letter N. North Star. It's more Polaris, North Pole, North Star symbolism. The symbol that they're showing us for Space Force, I put this in other videos over and over again. Look at that logo, same as they use in Star Trek. Those symbols, that symbol specifically, used to be a symbol signifying the North Pole, not space. They're even hiding it in plain sight with the navigation. It's the same symbol. We're using it for navigation. It's north, south, east, west. It's anywhere away from the center point. So is it navigation symbol or is it outer space? Can they make up their mind already? And come on now, did they really run out of logos? Outer space is anywhere past the North Pole where we have no idea what's there. Something major, key to everything. And of course, the Space Force came out under Trump. Trump plays a key role in this whole game and script. He's a magician. That's what MAGA means in Sanskrit. A magician and priest of the sun. That's the two definitions of it. And of course, in the 1890s, there was books written about, one of them was about the marvelous travels of Baron Trump. He has a son, Baron. And then the other book is 1900 or The Last President. Very interesting. Oh, well over 100 years ago. It's not predicted. It's these families with their witchcraft, sorcery, and magic. Nothing new. Always teasing us with stuff like that in the movies and shows. Back to the Future, Trump is Biff. In The Simpsons, he's the president before he was the president. In the Illuminati deck of cards from the 90s, he's in there 2 or 3 times. It's just all a script. At this point, it's borderline weird. It's like going to a movie that just came out, but you know exactly what's going to happen. In that Illuminati deck from the 90s, how did they know that Trump's main quote was going to be "enough is enough"? This is a short little clip from the voice audio book of that first book about Trump, but it's about his son, The Marvelous Travels of Baron Trump. In this book, Baron Trump is underground, and there's a whole queen and a whole royal society that's set up underground. And this is where Baron Trump goes to learn about time travel. And that's so interesting in itself because Trump's uncle, John Trump, was the one to get his hands on all of Tesla's technology, supposedly. So like I said, Trump is a main character. Ties right in to even if time travel exists and if the North Pole is the center, to me, time travel makes a lot more sense. And if the sky is a clock, if you could somehow find a way to manipulate the clock or get in one of their ships they've created and fly counterclockwise fast enough, wouldn't they time travel at that point? That makes a lot more sense to me than, again, if the sky's a clock and the zodiac wheel, just like the Journey song, wheels in the sky keep on turning. If for me, time travel is 100% real. And they're doing it, and that's why they're teasing us with certain characters or legit time traveler. Maybe Trump's one of them. It's so easy to go off on a tangent.
Dazzling white light, and 10 times 100 flags amid gunfalls hung listless but rich in splendor from invisible wires. Strange music came floating along from the gracefully shaped barges with silken awnings, which were gliding noiselessly over the surface of the winding river, the oars stirring the water, the oars stirring the water, stirring the water.
And look at this one of Trump's clubs or golf resorts, Turnberry, Saturn, the lighthouse symbolism in the center, the Northpole symbolism. All these magician actors know all the secrets and hidden truths of the world. They just hide it from us, clearly in plain view. Also, this word right here, of course spelled different, but I just happened to glance at that in reverse. Nort sounds a lot like north. Isn't that interesting that the word pulse is in pulsar or polestar? Pole, as in it's the pulse. Is this what makes it all work? Even in science, mainstream science, they refer to a pulsar as the lighthouse of the cosmos, is their phrases they use. And they hide it all over their corporate symbolism, the lighthouse in the center. For North Pole, the typical symbolism they give us is a pole. Or at the barbershops, the candy cane. Now think about this. Why are they showing you something spinning? It's hidden truth right there in the candy cane barbershop pole. Waters are being stirred. Crazy how all this stuff is still up for debate. UN, United Nations flag itself, they changed that to a stationary flat circle. Just like we're speaking about in the alchemy symbol, space is a circle with a cross and arrows pointing all 4 directions, venturing out that way, that way, that way, that way, space.
Yeah.
That's not no candy cane. That's showing us the spiral, the sound wave. Let's take a look at the word con. Any way you slice the pie, con means the same thing pretty much, right? Scam, con artist, crook. So think about that word, stellation. It's the construction of a stellulated polyhedron by extending edges or planes. Construction of a stellulated polyhedron by extending edges or planes. and we get the word constellation. They're dealing with star power. The word Tesla in reverse is all set. That's a nuclear power company. And look at the image they show you on their website. It's actually a pretty alarming image. It looks like the CERN Hadron Collider, to me, blowing a hole through Earth. Just like in the front of the CERN, they have Shiva, the goddess of destruction.
Bill Gates has a
Nuclear company, Terra Power. They all got their hands in that sort of technology. If in mythology Terra means Earth, then in the name of this company alone, they're secretly telling you that they're extracted and harnessing power, nuclear power, star power from the Earth. Terra is Earth. The company is called Terra Power. And the most powerful bomb ever created, star bomb, but spelled how they spell leaders of positions of power, TSAR, or they spell it with the Z, but star bomb is TSAR, SAR, star bomb. It's in the name of, it's self-explanatory. I have a video clip coming up to show you. Is it authentic? Not sure. You dig in for more and more info and evidence you come across. I mean, mind-blowing things. And this ties right into all these things make sense even more when you see this video. And it's exactly what you would picture when you're describing like Polaris, pulsar, light being emitted. Check this video out.
This is the first footage ever to be seen of the polar entrance. This is a huge opening at Earth's North Pole, even though it might look small here.
Sonoluminescence. A lot of words within that word. It's the emission of light imploding from bubbles in liquid when excited by sound. This is where it gets very interesting for me, hopefully for you. So then, just off of a simple search of sonoluminescence, the history, and not even intentional, University of Cologne. There they are again, Kelowna, Columbus, Cologne, what we spray on us, cologne. And go figure, the guy's name, Schultz, I'm sure most likely tied right into the Schwarzenbergs. They're at it again. Colonnas and the Schwarzenberg. Colonnas and Orsini. When the sperm hits its destination, the scientists say it's the brightest light. But with that process, something called bubble fusion happens. And it creates these large gas bubbles inside the liquid during this other process they call acoustic cavitation. This stuff gets real interesting. So those bubbles are created during the other process called acoustic cavitation, and they call it sonofusion, the other term. So as soon as I seen these 4 images, it's incredible, because now it makes more sense to me when even guys with the best telescopes, and even on my telescope, it looks like these stars or planets that we're looking at are these orbs of light, but it also looks like it could be in water. A lot of others say that. And like I said, with way better telescopes, P90, P1000, I'm not sure what it is. So, look at those images after the whole fusion process completes. It goes from a water bubble, and look at the 4th picture, looks exactly like the sun, does it not? So in other words, this precisely explains what we're seeing through them telescopes and why it appears like water. Pay attention to this short video and watch the whole process, and look underneath the gears towards the end. Watch what's happening. Now, my next question is going to be, if we were seeing a projection, does bubble fusion create heat? And it sure does. Once that fusion process is done, sonoluminescence. They even have mainstream science telling us that that process, sonoluminescence, can create star power and produce heat hot as or hotter than the sun. And of course, that's their scientific NASA way of letting us know that they've reverse engineered Earth, Mother Earth, a generator of energy.
A generator of energy.
Sonoluminescence.
The first time I saw sonoluminescence was in a darkened room. I was transfixed to look at this spherical flask of fluid. And you look into the center, and in the center see a glowing blue-purple light, which could be seen with the unaided eye. It looked like a star in the heavens.
Seth Putterman called it the star in a jar, a tiny spot of bright light contained in a flask of liquid. This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star. What made the phenomenon so exciting was the temperature of this star in a jar. On its surface alone, the light burns at tens of thousands of degrees. And Seth Putterman now contemplated a tantalizing possibility. Could the core of the collapsing bubble be even hotter? Hot enough for fusion?
One of the mysteries of sonoluminescence is to determine exactly how hot the interior of the bubble gets. In the sun, the interior can be millions of degrees, hot enough to cause fusion. And the thought crossed my mind that perhaps inside the collapsing bubble, the interior of the bubble might also get hot enough to cause fusion.
If so, this would be something truly amazing. By simply bombarding tiny bubbles with sound waves, temperatures of over 10 million degrees would be created. And nuclear fusion, the same reaction that powers the sun, would be happening almost effortlessly here on Earth.
Remember this too, water obviously is a reflection and a mirror, as above so below. Whatever that constant process that's taking place at the center or at the North Pole, it's this constant energy flowing in, energy flowing out cycle process. A good example is in humans creating life and sex. The male energy and then the magnetic energy of the woman, eventually with the friction, creates that spark, life, light. And there's matrix code, binary code hidden right in there. The man's stick is the 1, the woman's whole is 0. Think about it. They say we're a sun or we're stars ourselves. So the pole in the whole is creating that soul, that star, that beam of light.